look, we see what the Republicans are. We see how thuggish they are. This is kind of crap they're going to do in Texas. Look, they got to fight back. And listen, I get what they're saying. I still disagree. I wish the Texas Democrats had held out even longer. 2 weeks, to me, was too short because they couldn't get anything passed. And then the problem in the Texas Senate, nine Democrats walked off the floor. Hell, 2 of them stayed. If the 2 that had walked out with them, they couldn't have passed the Texas maps. To me, you got to use everything in your arsenal fighting these thugs because that's what they are. They are thugs.
Yeah, they are most definitely that. I think all of us wish that they had stayed out longer, that they had made sure that they continue to build the momentum of people paying attention, all these different types of things. And, I just want to call out for Representative Collier also. I remember the words of Dr. King when he said the time is always right to do what's right. So I appreciate her, in this particular moment. And then, of course, the others who have torn up those slips. I'm also very curious, that what was it, 1866 there in Texas, that same Texas state legislatures when they passed those the black codes. And those black codes are very similar to the sets of actions that they're doing now. Now, I understand that there are Democrats of all hues that are a part of this, but the ripples of how people used to view folks and devalue folks are still there. Because you remember the black codes was about restrictions. It was about being able to restrict people from voting, from holding office, all these different types of things that we still see playing out today. So we just got to be very clear about where does this stuff come from? Why do folks think that they have the power to be able to do these things? And it's because there is a history that exists there. And that's why folks have to fight back, because it is both about the past and what's going to happen not only in this moment, but moving forward.
And Larry, I'm glad these other Texas Democrats realized they should have signed that damn slip. They should have told them go to hell. See, if you're going to talk about sticking together, every Texas House Democrat should have said, all y'all can kiss my ass.
Roland, we find out who's really about that work. And one of the problems with what you just described with them signing the form and Democrats in general is their focus on decorum and not discord or disruption. You got to shut it down. And you have to do whatever's in your power. You don't want future generations to look back and say, hey, listen, if they'd waited a few more weeks, then maybe they couldn't pass the map. I think the other thing is when we talk about this conversation about Representative Collier being forced to stay on the House floor, is that we have to make the connection between this issue and how Black bodies are seen as ownership as it relates to property throughout United States history, particularly Black women, that they felt they had the right to tell their sister that she can't leave, and if she leaves, she'll be arrested. And once again, that connection between Black bodies, ownership, and what we see, and the state was former part of the Confederacy in Texas, is an example of how we have to fight white supremacy throughout the United States. So we can't continue to allow these individuals to get away with it. And once again, you have to be willing to disrupt the system as much as possible to ensure the rights of Black folks and other minoritized groups aren't watered down.
And listen, I made the point, Tyler, to these Democrats, man, make them arrest you. I said, go to your house and chill out and say, oh, y'all want me? Man, come to my crib. I said, and then they come knocking on your door, have 1,000 folk outside, walk out, kneel down in your front yard. I mean, that's the kind of resistance. Can you imagine if every single Democrat, 62 of them, had said, I dare y'all to stop all of us from walking out of here. I dare y'all to put handcuffs on all of us. Man, they should have bum rushed the damn door.
Yeah, I think this was definitely the time for strategic resistance to be, at the forefront of what the plan was. And I think when they broke quorum, they carried the hopes of, like you said, many Black and young voters who often felt silenced by this system that often, systemically disenfranchises us. And I think the frustration is very, very valid. For many, Black voters, especially those who often see the nice side of the politics. This was a time to show us what type of survival we're actually standing in. And at the same time, I also thought that, it's important that we grapple with when we talk about symbolism and strategy. And I think the lesson here is like representation matters, but representation without resistance isn't enough. And I think the resistance should have been longer, and I believe that the liberation right now from our leaders who not only make a stand but hold the line, even when it's uncomfortable. And I think the line should have definitely been held longer because now the question is asked: is the momentum compromised for voter suppression?
And listen, I just can't accept this idea. Mustafa, you can't play nice. And to Larry's point, my biggest criticism of Democrats in D.C. and in Texas and other places, they believe in institutions. They want to do things nice and right and fair and just. Don't want to raise their voices. No. What these people are doing is evil. And you have got to fight evil with everything you got. And that, I'm telling you, they should have sat here and said, what's that? Man, I ain't signing that bullshit. And somebody should have stood on their desk and said, don't nobody sign that damn sheet of paper. I would have dared them to lock every House Democrat into the House. You got to create the spectacle.
You do. And, it also helps to highlight the fact that the system in Texas is broken. We know it's broken in other states as well, but this is, an important moment. So you've got to do whatever is necessary. The author Rachel Carver one time said that white feelings should never be held in higher regard than Black lives. And we know that Black lives are going to be impacted because that's why they're doing this. It's going to strip resources away. It's going to strip access away. So when you don't do everything within your power to protect Black lives, it sends a message to those folks who have sent you to office, to those who are looking to you to be a voice for them, for you also to be able to stand up. So they've got to carry that now. And I understand there are all these different dynamics. I understand people got kids, people got other jobs and all kinds of different things that they've got to be able to do. But when you raised your hand, you also took the responsibility for your constituencies. And for all those Black constituencies out there, now they are going to be less represented. They're going to be in greater danger. So you got to carry that as well as all of the accolades that you get when you do something right, when you do something that is not right, when you do something that is devastating for many communities, then you got to carry some of that weight as well.
Indeed, indeed.
Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. Listen to what I'm about to tell you. The window to invest in Fanbase is closing. We've raised over $10.6 million of our $17 million goal. That means there's room for less than 6,370 people to invest in Fanbase for the average amount. The minimum to invest in Fanbase right now is $399. That makes you an owner in Fanbase today. Go to startengine.com/fanbase to invest. Why? Because current social apps have taken advantage of users for far too long, with content suppression, shadow banning, harmful racist content, and no real tools for monetization and equity. Fanbase has over 1.4 million users and counting, allowing anyone to reach all their following and monetize their content from day one. Social media is the new TV, and whoever owns the apps that distribute that content have the opportunity to own potential billion-dollar companies. While big platforms with uncertain futures are failing to serve their users, Fanbase is stepping up to fill the gap. Don't wait until it's too late. Invest now, invest for yourself and your future. Go to startengine.com/fanbase and own the next generation of social media.